Your phone is not just a device, it is a chain of tiny dopamine hits and social obligations that fire all day. That is why just stop scrolling rarely works. Today, you will hear what actually brings control back. In the next minutes, we map the habit loop in your brain. We show how product design amplifies it. We reveal the social loops that pull you back. We unpack the attention economy and the biases that trap you. We note how phones bend sleep, stress, and daily rhythms. Then we turn conflict into a plan. You get simple rituals, notification rules, and environment tweaks that cut screen time without isolation. You finish with a clear 3x3 matrix and a 1-week checklist to apply. We begin with a clear objective. Understand why the hand reaches for the phone before the mind forms a thought. See the invisible sequence that links a tiny cue to a full session. Once the sequence is visible, control becomes a design problem, not a test of character. A habit works as a loop. A cue appears, an action follows, a reward arrives, and the brain stores the pattern for next time. With phones, the cue can be anything. A badge on the icon, a buzz in a pocket, a pause in a conversation, an awkward silence in an elevator, a wave of boredom on the sofa. The action is simple and fast. The thumb wakes the screen and travels a learned path. The reward is whatever answers the prediction engine inside you. Dopamine is not pleasure. It is the signal that tags what to pursue and when to expect it. The spike often rises before the app opens, right when the lock screen lights up. That spike says something valuable might happen. The promise is enough to start the movement. Even if the outcome turns out dull, the system just learned to listen harder for the next cue. Uncertainty makes the loop powerful. Sometimes a message changes the day. Sometimes it is nothing at all. This mix of outcomes creates a variable reward schedule, the same structure that keeps slot machines spinning. The mind keeps sampling in case the next pull is the one that pays. Unread badges, mixed notifications, and algorithmic feeds are all built on the same principle of maybe. Attention chemistry opens a gate for the action. A brief rise of acetylcholine sharpens focus for a heartbeat. Noradrenaline adds urgency. That heartbeat is long enough to unlock the phone and tap the icon you did not plan to tap. The first tap lowers friction. Each next tap feels even easier. Before awareness catches up, the loop has already advanced 2 or 3 steps. Motor memory does heavy lifting. The path from pocket to home screen to favorite app is a ritual written into the basal ganglia. It runs with minimal energy and almost no deliberation. The body knows the choreography. You can perform it while walking, while half asleep, or while talking to someone you like. This is why pure willpower feels weak. Will arrives late to a dance that is already in motion. Emotions act as potent cues. Boredom pushes toward stimulation. Anxiety pushes toward reassurance. Loneliness pushes toward connection. Each state becomes a trigger that suggests a check. Over time, the brain learns that a quick glance brings a small relief. That relief is a reward, and rewards teach repetition. The loop now uses both positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement at once. Stress tightens the cycle. A ping raises arousal. Checking drops it slightly. The drop feels like relief. Relief is rewarding even when the content is neutral. You teach the system that, if stressed, open phone. This rule becomes a shortcut. The shortcut becomes automatic. The automatic action becomes your new baseline. Context binds the loop to places and times. The bed tells you to scroll. The kitchen counter tells you to check the news. The train tells you to open short videos. The bathroom tells you to read comments. Each location takes on the role of a silent cue. The loop becomes a map laid over your day. You walk through the map and the phone actions unfold on schedule. The loop also multiplies through tiny endings and fresh starts. Pull to refresh gives a small closure and a new beginning. Autoplay removes the decision to stop. Infinite scroll dissolves the edge that would normally signal session complete. Without a clear end, the brain keeps seeking the next micro win. Small wins chain together into long sessions. Tolerance develops quietly. What once felt exciting now feels normal. The system raises the number of checks to chase the same stimulation level. Small gaps between checks shrink. Idle moments disappear. Attention shatters into fragments. The fragments feel cheap, but they still register as rewards. The loop remains profitable for the habit even if it feels unproductive for you. Memory consolidates these patterns. Repetition strengthens the path from cue to action. The prediction system refines what to expect and when to expect it. Even when content quality dips, the learned expectation remains strong. You do not need a great reward every time. You only need the belief that a better one is nearby. That belief is the engine. Here is a concrete moment. You pause during work to rest your eyes. The pause itself becomes a cue. You unlock the phone to check one message. The message is not there. A reel appears instead. The reel delivers a quick burst of novelty. The prediction system logs a win and asks for another. The pause ends, but the loop keeps going for several more minutes. When you put the phone down, the brain has reinforced the path from short break to open feed. The most important insight is simple. Craving, not pleasure, drives the loop. The phone pairs small cravings with fast relief. Cues trigger movement. Rituals remove friction. Variable outcomes keep the hope alive. Negative reinforcement seals the habit during moments of stress. This is why you can feel unsatisfied and still continue to check. You do not escape this loop by trying harder. You escape by changing what appears as a cue, by inserting friction before the first tap, and by redirecting the reward toward a different action. You will soon learn design moves that make the loop work for you instead of against you. Before that, we will look at how product interfaces stretch this cycle on purpose and remove natural stop signs, turning a quick glance into a long stay. We move from chemistry to design. The goal is clear. See how small interface choices turn a quick check into a long stay. When the surface of the app changes, your behavior changes with it. Tiny tweaks remove natural stop signs and stretch the reward cycle by minutes at a time. The first lever is friction. Infinite scroll removes the edge that says you are done. There is no next page and no pause to decide. Pull to refresh adds a pleasing gesture and a moment of hope. The wheel spins, something new might appear. Autoplay advances to the next clip before you can breathe. The app makes continuation the default and stopping an active decision. Default wins over intention in most busy moments. The second lever is salience. Red badges shout louder than your plans. Bright numbers promise resolution. A small vibration whispers, pay attention. Haptic taps and micro sounds train your body to react fast. The phone becomes a little casino that speaks in color, motion, and touch. It signals urgency even when the content is trivial. You do not weigh value. You follow the most visible cue. The third lever is intermittent reward. Feeds mix high and low. Value posts on purpose. The curve is uneven by design. A boring post keeps you calm. A surprising one spikes your interest. The contrast strengthens the loop. Stories and reels expire soon, which adds time pressure. If you wait, you might miss it. Scarcity pairs with randomness and creates a powerful pull. The fourth lever is social proof. Likes, hearts, and view counts turn attention into a number. Numbers are easy to compare and hard to ignore. When a post starts to perform, the app flashes small boosts and nudges you to check again. It feels like progress. It also keeps you inside the metrics. You return to watch the count rise and to catch the next bump. The fifth lever is streaks and loss aversion. Daily challenges, learning chains, and snap streaks reward continuity. Breaking the chain feels like losing something you earned. Losses hurt more than gains feel good. The app knows this and uses it. A single missed day can reset your badge. You open the app not to enjoy it, but to avoid the pain of losing progress. The sixth lever is personal relevance. Recommendation systems learn what keeps you watching. They do not need to know you deeply. They only need to predict the next tap. A few signals are enough. Dwell time, quick likes, scroll speed, and rewatches feed the model. Over time, the feed becomes a mirror. It shows what you respond to, not what you value. The mirror is flattering and hard to look away from. The seventh lever is zero-cost entry. Biometric unlocks and persistent sessions mean you never log in. Deep links open straight into the place of action. You tap a notification and land inside a thread already in motion. There is no lobby and no hallway. With no corridor, there is no chance to reconsider. You appear in the middle of the room and start talking. Design also plays with endings. Are you still watching? Appears late, not early. Pages for comments arrive after you close the app. Quiet come back. Nudges land at times when you usually return. If you swipe away a suggestion, the system waits and tries a softer one later. It learns your weak spots, it avoids your strong ones. Look at micro interactions. A heart that pops on touch, a reel that snaps into alignment, a subtle blur during a transition. These details feel good. They also create momentum. Momentum reduces the mental cost of one more action. Each smooth step makes the next step even smoother. Smoothness is not only aesthetics, it is behavior shaping. Consider the split between active and passive use. Writing a message takes energy. Scrolling a feed takes almost none. Interfaces favor the passive path. It fills the idle gap while giving you the illusion of participation. You feel connected without the cost of effort. This asymmetry explains why you open the app for people and stay for content. Here's a small story. You unlock your phone to send a photo. The camera opens fast. You shoot and share. A badge appears on the home screen. You tap it to check if the message sent. A reel previews on top of the thread. You watch for 3 seconds. The next reel autoplays. Your thumb stays still. The count in the corner rises. A new comment pops on an older post. You touch it without thinking. 5 minutes pass, the photo was delivered in 5 seconds. The other 4 minutes and 55 seconds came from design. Design also exploits near misses. You almost catch the end of a thread, but a new reply appears. You almost finish the queue, but the list repopulates. A near miss pushes you to continue. It feels rude to leave a conversation that keeps breathing. It feels wasteful to stop when you are close to the end, even if the end keeps moving. Notification style matters as much as frequency. A single well-timed summary can be less disruptive than 10 scattered pings. Most apps do the opposite by default. They split one update into many touches. They light the screen when you are most likely to look. They schedule badges to appear near known breaks. The goal is to catch you at the queue stage, not after. Choice architecture completes the picture. The first screen shows what the service wants you to do most. The second screen hides the exit or the settings. Useful tools live behind an extra swipe. Entertaining content sits in reach of your thumb. The layout creates a path of least resistance and you follow it because you are human and busy. Personal boundaries rarely survive default settings. This is not a moral failing. It is a math problem. If you face 100 micro decisions a day, you will not win them all. The app only needs a few to succeed. It uses time zones, past behavior, and social ties to raise the odds. Your best defense is not a stronger yes or no, it is fewer questions. There is one more twist. Good design also helps you leave when you choose to leave. Clear endpoints, honest controls, and quiet modes reduce regret. Some teams build them, many do not. You can add them yourself with system tools. You can move the app off the first screen. You can remove badges. You can batch alerts. You can create your own stop signs. The pattern is now visible. Modern interfaces do 3 things at once. They lower entry friction. They increase midstream momentum. They obscure natural exits. This is enough to tilt most days toward longer sessions without any grand decision on your part. In a moment, we will add the social layer. Interfaces shape behavior, but relationships lock it in. Expectations, reciprocity, and status turn design nudges into obligations. That is why the pull feels personal. Next, we examine how chats, groups, and visibility rules transform simple checking into maintenance of your place in the network. We now turn to the social layer. Interfaces nudge, but relationships bind. The phone is not only a stream of content, it is a web of people who expect you to be reachable, responsive, and aware. That web creates commitments that feel small on their own and heavy in total. You do not just check, you check to keep a place in the group. Reciprocity is the first force. Someone replies to you, so you reply to them. A friend sends a photo, so you send a reaction. A colleague asks a quick question, so you give a quick answer. Each exchange is light, yet the rule is strong. When you wait too long, you feel a pinch of guilt. When others wait too long, you feel a pinch of doubt. The loop continues because it maintains trust. Status is the second force. Likes, hearts, and views are public signals of attention. They look like numbers, but they behave like social rank. When a post performs, you return to see the count climb. When it stalls, you return to see if it recovers. You learn what gets a response and shape your behavior to match. The phone becomes a stage where you watch your own performance. Fear of missing out is the third force. Events move inside chats and stories. Plans form and vanish in hours. Jokes, memes, and invites pass quickly. If you step away, you might miss the moment. That fear turns idle checks into just-in-case checks. The more a group uses the phone to coordinate, the stronger this pressure grows. Visibility rules push the loop harder. Read receipts turn silence into a message. Seen without a reply can feel like rejection. Typing creates a promise that begs for completion. Last seen online creates a timeline you must explain. Presence indicators were meant to add clarity. They often add tension. You open the app to remove the tension and end up starting a new cycle. Group chats multiply obligations. A family thread, a work channel, and a hobby group can produce hundreds of messages a day. Most are skimmable. A few matter. The problem is that you do not know which are which until you open the app. So you open often. You scan. You react with an emoji to show you are here. Each micro action keeps the channel warm and asks others to do the same. Asymmetry of effort keeps you engaged. It takes 1 second for someone to tag you and 5 minutes for you to catch up. It takes a tap for someone to send 10 images and a block of your time to view and sort them. This imbalance creates what feels like digital debt. Clearing debt feels good. That relief becomes a reward that teaches the habit to return. Silence is not neutral online. In face-to-face life, a pause can be comfortable. In chats, a pause can look like withdrawal. People fill the gap with worry or guesswork. You sense this and compensate. You send a quick sticker or a short, "I'll answer later." These tiny patches keep the thread smooth. They also keep you tethered. Work blends with life on the same screen. Professional tools live next to personal apps. A late message from a team channel lights the same pixels as a note from a friend. Your brain does not switch context as fast as the phone does. You open for one reason and end up answering another. The boundary erodes and the loop grows wider. Social platforms add engineered rituals, birthday reminders, friendship anniversaries, and memory resurfaces prompt you to show care on schedule. It feels kind and often is. It also creates more cycles of check, react, and check again. The rituals are light, but they repeat across networks and build into a steady drumbeat. Here is a small story. You promise yourself a quiet evening. A group chat buzzes once. You ignore it. 10 minutes later, a friend tags you directly. You open to be polite. Inside, the thread has moved 20 messages forward. A poll asks for a date. You vote so no one waits. A link pops with the venue. You tap to see the menu. The app asks to log in. A code arrives by text. You switch apps to copy it. A different chat lights up while you paste. You reply with a quick thumbs up so they know you saw it. 25 minutes pass. You did nothing wrong. You maintained your place in several small ways. Algorithms learn your social ties and amplify them. Posts from close friends appear first. Suggestions push you towards people who respond to you. Engagement looks like care, so the feed serves you more of it. This tightens strong ties and keeps you emotionally close. It also raises the cost of stepping away because stepping away now feels like neglect. Ephemeral content adds urgency. Stories expire, live streams end, voice notes feel best in the moment. The format says now or never. You answer now because later might be too late. This time, pressure spreads across circles and creates a rolling wave of small deadlines. Even when you want to be present in real life, the phone becomes a safety net for social risk. If a conversation stalls, you check. If a room feels awkward, you check. The device offers an exit from discomfort. That exit then becomes a habit. The habit reduces practice with human pauses and makes the phone even more attractive next time. The unexpected insight is that you are not only consuming content, you are maintaining a reputation ledger. You show you are attentive, kind, quick, and in the loop. The ledger feels fragile. A delayed reply can look like distance. A missed joke can look like you are out of touch. You pay constant micropayments of attention to keep the balance healthy. None of this makes you weak, it makes you social. The forces at play are old. The medium is new and more efficient. Reciprocity, status, and coordination ran human groups long before phones. The smartphone compresses distance and time, so the same forces run faster and with more prompts per day. This is why a simple block on content rarely works by itself. Even if you mute a feed, your groups pull you back. Even if you delete a distracting app, your relationships raise their hand through another channel. To change the loop, you need agreements with people, not only settings on the device. There are ways to reset expectations. You can write status messages that explain your response windows. You can set office hours in team tools and invite others to do the same. You can move urgent requests to a single channel and keep everything else asynchronous. You can agree on quiet hours in family chat so no one feels rude for being offline. When these norms exist, pressure drops. You still care about people, but you do not need to prove it every hour. Your checks get fewer and more intentional. You regain the ability to be fully present where you are. The loop loosens without cutting ties. The pattern is clear now. Social loops turn checking into maintenance of identity and belonging. They are powerful because they run on meaning. In the next chapter, we follow the money. We will see how the attention economy sets targets that reward longer sessions and higher return rates, and how those targets shape both product design and the social rhythms you feel every day. We now follow the money. Attention is a currency. Time on screen turns into revenue, growth, and market share. If a service can hold you longer, it wins more auctions, collects more signals, and raises its value. The logic is simple and relentless. What gets measured gets optimized. What gets optimized shapes your day. Most platforms watch the same core numbers. Retention tells who comes back after day 1 and after week 1. Session frequency shows how many times you open per day. Session length shows how long you stay once you enter. These three feed revenue per user and lifetime value. If any of them rise, the business looks healthier. If they fall, alarms go off and roadmaps change. Small experiments move big graphs. 2 button colors run side by side. The winner gets promoted. 2 notification wordings go live for a fraction of users. The one that pulls more returns becomes the default. This is not a single decision. It is hundreds of micro bets each month. Each bet adds a little momentum to longer sessions. You never see the experiments as experiments. You just feel the product become easier to enter and harder to leave. Advertising converts time into money directly. More minutes mean more ad slots. Better targeting means higher prices per slot. Watch time, viewability, and scroll speed all affect auctions behind the scenes. A smoother feed raises the chance that an ad is seen. A longer session raises the chance that an ad is clicked. Your attention is not sold once. It is sold repeatedly, slice by slice in small windows measured in milliseconds. Recommendation systems learn from your behavior and optimize for continued behavior. They do not ask what is meaningful. They ask what keeps you engaged. Dwell time, rewatches, and quick likes become training signals. The model learns which items make you act and which make you pause. Over time, it serves a tighter loop of content that holds you with less effort. It is a self-reinforcing cycle. Engagement feeds the model. The model feeds engagement. Notifications are a growth engine. A reactivation at the right minute is worth more than 10 at the wrong hour. Systems learn your daily rhythms and place nudges near natural breaks. Lunch, commute, late evening. The goal is to hit you at cue time, not after you have started a deep task. A single well-aimed push can restore a slipping habit. 10 mistimed ones can train you to mute them. Most services accept that trade and keep optimizing for the one that lands. Subscription products still chase the same curve. Churn is the enemy. Habit is the shield. Trials push you to form a routine before the paywall. Streaks, badges, and progress bars justify renewal. Even when there are no ads, time and return rates matter. Every session is a chance to deepen reliance and raise switching costs. The business benefits when the product becomes part of your daily structure. Network effects multiply everything. More creators bring more content. More content brings more viewers. More viewers bring better data to train recommendations. Better recommendations attract more creators who find an audience faster. The flywheel spins. Once it spins fast, stepping away costs more. You are not leaving a tool. You are leaving a culture and a market where your friends and your own work live. Quarterly pressure hardened incentives. A small uptick in session length looks like a big win at scale. 1 extra minute across tens of millions of people is millions of extra hours. Hours move revenue, revenue moves stock price and bonuses. This is why even well-meaning teams often ship features that lean towards stickiness. No one feature traps you. The baseline of all features does. Money also flows into shape-shifting. If you linger on short clips, the app grows more short clips. If you answer live rooms, you see more live rooms. The format that wins your time gets more space and better placements. It earns priority in the navigation and in the feed. The layout changes and your habits change with it. The product follows the metric. You follow the product. There is a hopeful side. Good design can reduce regret and still keep a business healthy. Clear endpoints reduce backlash. Honest counters build trust. Batch notifications protect focus while preserving utility. Some teams invest in these guardrails because long-term satisfaction reduces churn. Many teams do not, because the next quarter arrives before long-term effects do. You can add your own guardrails at the system level. You will assemble them later in the script. A short story shows the mechanics. A team tests a new continue watching ribbon that appears 1 row higher on the home screen. Nothing else changes. Average session length rises by 4%. Daily ad revenue rises by 4%. Leadership green lights roll out in 1 hour. Users do not report a big shift in experience. They just stay a little longer each time. Scale turns a little into a lot. The conclusion is not that products are evil. The conclusion is that they are optimized. They follow clear goals, and those goals reward more time, more returns, and more actions. If you rely on willpower alone, you're playing against math, incentives, and fast feedback loops. To change the outcome, you will need to change how your brain values options in the moment. That brings us to the mind itself. The attention economy works because it exploits predictable biases in human judgment. We overvalue now, we chase novelty, we mistake salience for importance. In the next chapter, we will map these biases one by one and show how to flip them so they work for you instead of against you. Our goal is simple: expose the mental shortcuts that make a quick check feel logical. Once you see the pattern, you can change the path your mind takes in the first seconds after a cue. Novelty bias pulls first. The brain tags new things as important because in nature, new could be opportunity or threat. Feeds deliver a stream of small differences that look new enough to win your gaze. You feel nudged to keep sampling. The fix is to make true novelty rare on your home screen. Put tools up front and put discovery 1 layer deeper so the first tap is not a novelty slot. The availability heuristic distorts value. What comes to mind easily feels more common and more important. If you saw 3 viral clips this morning, you assume the feed always has gold. You return more often because your memory shows you highlights instead of base rates. A simple counter helps. Keep a weekly note that lists how many checks led to something you truly needed. Seeing the ratio resets your sense of how often the feed pays off. Salience bias swaps bright for meaningful. Red badges, bouncing icons, and motion compete for your next move. The most noticeable item wins your action even when a quiet task is worth more. This is why a dull settings icon loses to a glowing story ring. You can flip the bias by draining salience from distractions. Turn badges off for entertainment apps and keep them only for people and logistics. Make useful actions large and visible on your first screen. Negativity bias hooks deeply. The brain gives extra weight to threats and conflicts. Content that triggers anger or fear holds your attention longer than calm news. You do not plan to seek outrage. You plan to stay informed. The bias does the rest. If you want to weaken the pull, route news through a daily brief at a set time and skip feeds that remix the same headlines into emotional spikes across the day. Hyperbolic discounting makes now look huge and later look small. A short clip pays in 10 seconds. A deep task pays in 2 hours. The present wins by default. The phone is full of instant rewards, so the curve tilts even harder. You can tilt back by preloading small future rewards into focus work. Use a timer and promise yourself a pleasant cue at the end of the block. Your brain learns that waiting also brings a win. Loss aversion drives many streaks and chains. Breaking progress hurts more than gaining the same amount pleases. Apps frame routines as fragile lines you must protect daily. You open the app to avoid the pain of losing the badge. You can steal this mechanic. Track your own streaks for things that serve you. Move app streaks out of sight and paper streaks for sleep, reading, or training into sight. The goal gradient effect speeds you up near a visible finish. A progress bar near completion feels magnetic. Feeds avoid true ends so you never reach that satisfying push. They offer near misses instead. You can restore endings by using lists, queues, and batch windows. Make a small list of tasks before you unlock the phone. Finish a list and stop. The finish gives you the gradient and the closure the feed removes. Social proof and bandwagon effects shape judgment without asking. If a post shows high numbers, you feel it must be good. If a chat is noisy, you feel you should join. Metrics become guidance even when they are the result of earlier guidance. You can dampen this by hiding like counts where possible and by sorting channels into priority tiers. Visit the top tier on a schedule. Visit the rest when time allows. Let structure, not numbers, decide. The mere exposure effect rewards repetition. Seeing the same format or face increases liking. Short videos exploit this by repeating rhythms, hooks, and faces that your brain starts to prefer. It feels natural to watch more of what you already saw. If you want to loosen this grip, create deliberate diversity windows. Choose an hour a week to sample long form from a few trusted sources. The new baseline changes what feels normal. The sunk cost fallacy keeps sessions alive. You have already spent 7 minutes, so leaving now feels wasteful. You keep going to make the time worth it. The cost is gone either way. A physical timer can break the spell. Place a gentle alarm at 5 minutes. When it rings, you make a fresh choice. The alarm cuts the thread between past investment and future minutes. Framing effects change choices without changing facts. A notification that says 3 friends are active now frames opening as joining people, not as consuming content. A badge that says only today frames the action as a rare chance. You can reframe on your own screen. Rename folders with verbs that describe intent. Message family, pay bills, read later. Verbs remind you of purpose when a cue arrives. Overconfidence bias whispers that you can dip in and out without cost. You imagine a clean 2-minute check because you remember rare clean exits, not the average session. A simple log corrects the illusion. For 1 week, write the start and end time of every check. The real numbers dissolve the myth of perfect control and motivate structural fixes. Here is a brief story. You plan to read for 20 minutes. 5 minutes in, a memory of an unread message floats up. The queue wins. You open a thread and answer in 1 line. A new message appears in a work channel with a red dot. You scan and react with an emoji to show presence. A video preview auto plays in the corner and shows a headline about a problem you care about. You watch 12 seconds to see the twist. The twist never comes because the clip is only a hook. You return to the book and discover that you have lost the thread. 20 minutes passed. The biases stacked on top of each other and carried you. Here is an unexpected insight. Most checks are not driven by content quality. They are driven by the prediction that the next item might resolve a small tension. Reduce tension and the prediction weakens. Change the first 5 seconds and the next 20 minutes change by themselves. You can recruit the same biases for your side. Make important tasks salient and easy. Make distractions dull and far. Add small immediate rewards to long goals. Create visible ends so the goal gradient helps you finish and stop. Frame your screen so verbs and schedules remind you why you came. The takeaway is clear. Your mind is not broken, it is efficient. It uses shortcuts that served you well in other settings. Phones line those shortcuts up in a row and let them fire in sequence. When you adjust cues, frames, and rewards, the same shortcuts guide you out instead of in. Next, we look at the body. Sleep, stress, and movement patterns amplify or weaken the pull. You will see why late light and micro-arousals make checking more likely, and how a few physical rituals reduce urges before they begin. Our aim is practical. See how the phone rewires daily rhythms in the body. When rhythms shift, urges to check grow stronger. When rhythms stabilize, urges weaken on their own. The nervous system runs on cycles. Arousal rises and falls across the day. Focus comes in waves. Fatigue follows effort. The phone inserts extra peaks into this curve. Each ping, Flash or buzz is a tiny stressor. It raises heart rate a little and narrows attention for a moment. Many tiny spikes add up to a tired mind. Breathing changes with screens. Shoulders lift, inhales get shallow, exhales get short. This pattern signals vigilance to the brain. Vigilance expects new events and asks for scanning. Scanning pairs well with feeds. When the body says be alert, the thumb says keep scrolling. Vision joins the loop. Fast cuts, bright edges, and motion prime the eyes for pursuit. The eyes jump in tiny saccades to catch novelty. This movement pushes the brain toward what's next instead of what matters. After 20 minutes of rapid visuals, a plain page feels slow. Slow feels wrong. You reach for speed again. Light is the strongest external clock the body has. Late light from a phone delays the night signal. Melatonin rises later. Sleepiness arrives later. You do not feel tired yet, so you keep scrolling. The new bedtime becomes the loop's ally. Every extra half hour shifts tomorrow's energy down. Sleep is not just duration, it is stages that restore different systems. Late sessions cut deep sleep first, then shorten REM near the morning. Less deep sleep leaves you foggy and more reactive. Less REM leaves you emotionally brittle. A brittle morning checks more. The loop recruits fatigue to keep itself alive. There is also bedtime revenge. After a busy day, you want a pocket of control. The phone offers easy control. You claim it at night because it is yours. This feels fair in the moment and costly in the morning. Tired brains crave quick relief. Quick relief is on the screen. The cycle repeats the next night. Micro arousals anchor the habit by your bed. The phone on a nightstand glows, breathes, or vibrates. You wake a little, you turn the screen to face down. You check the time, you check one more thing. Even if you sleep again, the brain learned a rule. If awake at night, open phone. The rule fires next week without your consent. Morning starts with a natural cortisol rise. It is fuel to begin the day. If the first input is a feed, that fuel goes to scanning. You prime the mind for reaction, not direction. The rest of the morning inherits that stance. You bounce instead of steer. The same hormones could power a plan, a walk, or deep work. The first 5 minutes decide the path. Movement patterns link to checking. The path from pocket to unlock is a motor script. You perform it while walking, eating, even crossing streets. The script runs in the basal ganglia and costs little energy. Every repetition carves a deeper groove. The groove turns movements into cues. Hand in pocket equals unlock. Sitting equals scroll. Elevator equals messages. Places and motions become switches you stop seeing. Phantom vibrations are another body trick. Expectation tunes sensation. You feel a buzz that never happened. You check and find nothing. The act still rewards the expectation. The body becomes a rumor mill. Rumors drive checks as well as real alerts. Reducing false alarms is a direct way to reduce total checks. Idle moments vanish under constant stimulation. Boredom once signaled a need for rest or reflection. Now it becomes a cue to swipe. The brain loses practice at wandering. Mind wandering supports insight and memory consolidation. Without it, thoughts feel flat. Flat thoughts seek color on the screen. The loop captures the need for color and sells it back to you. Energy is a budget. Attention costs fuel. Jumping between tasks spends more than staying with one. Each micro switch to the phone spends a little more. Late in the day, you run a deficit. Deficits make impulses louder. Long goals fade. This is not a character flaw. It is basic metabolism under many small leaks. Stress hormones shape memory. When pings and posts produce frequent small spikes, the body adapts to expect them. The baseline creeps upward. Calm feels empty. Empty invites stimulation. The new normal favors checking because checking matches the elevated set point. Here is a short night story. You set the alarm and put the phone beside the pillow. A light from the screen edge glows at 1:13. You flip it to face down. Now you are awake. You glance to see the time and catch a preview line. It mentions someone you know. You tap to calm the worry. 2 minutes later, you are reading a thread that can wait. At 7:00, you wake groggy and promise to sleep early. Evening arrives and the pattern repeats because the body learned. Nighttime means microchecks. Here is a short commute story. You stand on a train and open a news app to pass 5 stops. Headlines shift fast. Videos autoplay with captions. Your eyes jump and your breath stays high in your chest. By the office door, your mind hums. The hum feels like readiness. It is actually arousal without aim. Email wins over the deep task you planned. Deep work begins after lunch, if at all. The key insight is that physiology does not just suffer from the loop, it fuels it. Light, posture, breath, and stress set the stage for urges before any content appears. If you change the stage, many urges lose strength without any battle. You can shift light to favor sleep. Move bright screens away from eyes in the last hour. Use warmer tones at night and real daylight in the morning. Let the first light hit your eyes from the world, not a panel. Morning light anchors the clock. Anchored clocks anchor moods. You can change where the phone sleeps. Put it across the room or in another space. Use an alarm clock that is not also a portal. If you must keep the device nearby, disable lock screen previews and breathing lights. Reduce the chance of half-wake checks. Fewer night cues mean fewer night loops. You can pair checks with breath resets. Unlock only after one slow exhale. Use a simple pattern like 4 in, 6 out for 3 cycles. Longer exhales shift the body toward calm. Calm reduces urgency. Reduced urgency lets you notice purpose before the thumb moves. You can add micro movements that reset posture. Shoulders down, chin level, long exhale, eyes to the far wall for 15 seconds. These are tiny but strong. They tell the brain that the threat level is low. Low threat removes the need to scan. You can protect morning direction, keep the first 5 minutes offline and quiet. Drink water, open a window, write one line that states your first action, then allow the phone to enter as a tool. This short ritual steals the day back from scanning. You can make boredom useful again. Leave some gaps unfilled on purpose. Stand in a line and do nothing. Walk without audio once a day. Let the mind drift for a few minutes. The drift returns ideas and settles the nervous system. Settled systems check less. You can change motor scripts by changing placement. Put the phone in a bag instead of a pocket. Place it on a shelf instead of the desk. Require 2 steps to reach it. Scripts break when the choreography changes. New choreography gives you a moment to decide rather than react. The result is not ascetic, it is strategic. You keep the benefits of connection while removing the hidden body costs that create automatic checks. The phone stops feeling like an itch and returns to being a tool. The next step is the inner conflict between goals and impulses. You will see why willpower alone fails in noisy environments and how to build pre-decisions that do the work for you. You will learn to add friction where you want less and add momentum where you want more, so the body and the mind point in the same direction. Our aim is control without constant struggle. Goals live on long horizons, impulses live in the next 10 seconds, and when these clocks clash, the shortest one wins. The path forward is not to harden your mood, but to change the conditions around the first seconds after a cue. Think of willpower as a skill that appears or evaporates depending on energy, friction, and clarity. In noisy settings, it arrives late and tires fast. In quiet settings, it becomes calm and effective. You will build that quiet on purpose so choices feel simple and momentum points where you want it to point. Start with pre-decision so you decide once and benefit many times. If you know evenings are weak, charge the phone in a different room before the urge appears. If commutes trigger scrolling, keep the device in a bag instead of a pocket so the choreography breaks. Pair these moves with if-then scripts that run automatically. If I unlock, then I state my single purpose out loud. If I see a red badge, then I take one slow breath and ask now or later. If the answer is later, I schedule it and close. The aim is not a heroic refusal, but a smooth reroute. When the upstream choice is clear, the downstream fight never happens. Bound your session so sunk, cost thinking cannot glue you to the feed. Use short timers, 5, 10, or 15 minutes, and let a gentle tone reset your judgment. At the tone, make a fresh choice with a clear head. Continue for one more block or stop and switch. This simple boundary removes the illusion that you must salvage the minutes already spent. Add a single entry rule to cut wandering. One unlock, one task, one exit. Say the task before you tap, Do it and stop. The ritual crowds out aimless swiping because it occupies a space where hesitation used to live. Learn to ride urges instead of obeying them. Most impulses swell, peak, and fade if you do not act, and the peak is shorter than it feels. Name the urge in plain words, notice where it sits in the body, and take 3 slow breaths with longer exhales than inhales. Delay action for 60 seconds and watch curiosity shrink into something you can ignore. Each time you surf a wave without tapping, the next wave arrives smaller. You are teaching the prediction system that not every cue leads to a reward on the screen. Shift rewards so patience pays quickly. Bundle a pleasant cue after focused work. A cup of tea, a song you like, a minute at an open window so your brain links effort to a small, reliable win. Engineer momentum for good actions by making the desired path the easy path. Keep a notebook open with the next tiny step written. Place the charger by your reading chair instead of by the bed, and keep useful tools one tap away. Meanwhile, remove momentum from drift by turning the screen to grayscale during unplanned checks and by moving entertainment behind folders on the second page. Grayscale drains salience from candy colors and bouncing rings. The device feels less like a carnival and more like a tool. Protect attention with defaults rather than constant choices. Create focus modes with a whitelist of people and apps, schedule them for work blocks and evenings, and let everything else arrive in batched summaries. Batches reduce false alarms and let you process messages like a queue instead of a fire hose. Add a corridor ritual for every transition. Pause, exhale, and ask, what outcome do I want? If there is no clear answer, close the phone and return later with one. Transitions decide most days. Guard them with a habit as concrete as a door. Tighten the environment so your values win by inertia. Keep only tools on the first screen: maps, camera, calendar, notes, and rename folders with verbs that remind you of intent: plan, pay, read later, family. Put the phone on a shelf instead of the desk during deep work. And at night, let it sleep across the room or outside the bedroom so micro-arousals do not become micro-checks. Establish non-negotiables that require no debate: no phone in bed, no phone at meals, no phone in the first 5 minutes of the day, and use simple external toggles to mark modes. A desk lamp on means deep work, headphones on means messages only, phone face down means reply later. Fewer exceptions make habits easier because you stop negotiating with yourself. Bring other people into the plan so social pressure turns helpful. Tell friends and teammates your response windows, set office hours in work tools, and move true emergencies to a single channel everyone respects. Agree on quiet hours in family chats so no one feels rude for being offline. When norms exist, the silent debt you feel toward every buzzing thread drops, checks become fewer and more intentional, and you regain the ability to be fully present where you are. Track reality for 1 week to dissolve overconfidence. Write start and end times for each check, note the purpose and the outcome, and let the numbers show where pre-decisions and boundaries will save the most time. Expect slips and script recovery in advance. Close all apps, stand up, take 10 slow breaths, write the next action on paper, and restart with a small win. Here is what this looks like in practice. You reach for the phone during a hard paragraph and feel the peak of an urge. You look at a distant point, breathe out slowly, and say your purpose. Send the file. You unlock, send, and lock, then stand for 15 seconds to reset posture and eyes before returning to the paragraph. Later, a red badge appears during dinner, but dinner is a non-negotiable, so the queue dies without a fight. The day ends with the phone charging in the hallway, and morning begins with water, light, and one written line before any screen. No heroics, no guilt, just a stage that makes the right move the easiest move. The deeper insight is that you do not need more strength. You need fewer fights. Add friction where you want less and add momentum where you want more. Shape the conditions around the first 10 seconds after a cue, and the rest of the minute takes care of itself. Your goals become the path of least resistance, impulses lose their edge, and the phone returns to its proper place. A useful tool that serves your plans instead of steering them. Our goal now is to assemble a practical system that lowers screen time without cutting you off from people or tools. Think of it as a set of levers you pull in a fixed order, the same way every day until it runs on autopilot. The system starts with place, then moves to screen, then to signals, then to rituals, then to agreement, and finally to review. Each layer removes a few decisions and adds a little clarity. When stacked, they turn control from effort into routine. Begin with placement. Let the phone sleep outside the bedroom or at least across the room on a simple charger. Use a real alarm or a watch so night checks are not for the time. Disable lock screen previews and breathing lights so a half wake does not become a half hour. Morning starts without the device for 5 quiet minutes. Water, light from a window, a stretch, and one sentence on paper that names the first action of the day. This small anchor trains your brain to steer before it scans. Rebuild the home screen so intent beats impulse. Keep only tools on page 1: camera, calendar, maps, notes, payments, and one reading app that has no feed. Move all entertainment and discovery to the second page inside folders named with verbs like read later, watch after work, or social only. Hide search bars that jump straight into feeds and force yourself through one extra tap for novelty. Turn the whole display to grayscale during unplanned checks. Color returns only for planned leisure windows. The device feels less like a carnival and more like a toolbox. Redesign notifications like an air traffic schedule, not a rainstorm. Create a white list of people who can always reach you and put every other app on digest that arrive at set times. Batch social updates at lunch and in the early evening so you process them as a queue, not a drip. Turn off badges for entertainment entirely and keep them only for logistics you truly cannot miss. Give urgent channels distinct tones and make everything else silent. The goal is fewer cues, not stronger resistance. Use focus modes with a clock, a place, and a purpose. A work mode runs on weekdays from morning to early afternoon, allows only your white list and a few tools, and hides home screen pages that are not needed. A family mode turns on at dinner and keeps only calls and maps. A sleep mode starts an hour before bed and silences everything but emergencies. Tie modes to locations when you can, so entering the office tightens rules and returning home loosens them. Let the system flip the switches for you. Adopt a single entry rule to end wandering. Say your intent before you unlock, do the one task, and exit. If you're entering for a message, open the thread directly, send, and close. If you're entering for a check, set a 5 or 10 minute timer first so sunk cost cannot glue you to the feed. Deep links that drop you into the middle of an app still obey the rule. Complete the one action and leave the rest for the next batch window. This tiny ritual removes dozens of micro decisions each day. Add 3 daily rituals that calm the body so urges arrive weaker. In the morning, breathe slowly with longer exhales for 1 minute before you touch a screen. At midday, take a 2-minute posture reset and look at a far point to lower arousal after scrolling or meetings. In the evening, create a screen down hour that includes a short walk, a shower, or reading on paper. These moves lower the baseline of stress and stop micro spikes from calling you back to the phone. Make social expectations explicit so kindness replaces pressure. Post a short status in your messaging apps that explains response windows for weekdays and weekends. In family and close friend chats, agree on quiet hours and a simple rule for mentions when something truly cannot wait. In work tools, set office hours and move emergencies to a single channel that everyone respects. Turn off read receipts if they produce tension or keep them only in threads where they actually add clarity. When people know what to expect, you stop paying a constant tax of silent guilt. Triage communication by tiers and schedules. Tier 1 is people and logistics that move the day. You check them on the hour or at preset breaks. Tier 2 is groups and interests. You batch them twice daily. Tier 3 is discovery and feeds. You visit them in planned leisure blocks. Pin one note at the top of your inbox that lists today's checkpoints. Let the note decide when to engage, not the next ping. Track what matters and ignore the noise. For 1 week, record checks per day, minutes spent, and minutes you regret. Do not obsess over total screen time if your work runs on the phone. Watch the ratio of useful minutes to regret minutes and aim to move it by 5 points each week. Keep a small win ledger where you note 3 times you followed the single entry rule or honored a batch window. Wins teach the brain faster than scolding. Swap rewards so patience pays quickly and visibly. After a focus block, pair a pleasant cue you can feel right now. tea, a view out the window, or a short song. Move app streaks out of sight and start paper streaks for sleep, reading, training, or calls to loved ones. Put the streak chart where you usually unlock so your eyes meet a different source of progress. The brain learns that the good feeling arrives after effort, not after a random swipe. Prepare a failsafe for hard days. Offload the most tempting apps so reinstalling takes time and a password you do not know alone. Place time limits with a code held by a partner or a trusted friend and allow one emergency override per day with a note you must write. If you drift, run the recovery script instead of arguing with yourself. Close all apps, put the phone down, stand up, take 10 long breaths, and write the next action on paper. One clean reset beats an hour of half-guilty scrolling. Here is a day with the system in place. You wake, drink water, open a window, and write one line that names your first action. Work mode turns on by itself. Only people and tools remain visible. You unlock at the top of the hour, clear Tier 1 messages, and lock. A timer bounds your midday feed check, and the tone reminds you to choose again with a fresh mind. Dinner arrives under family mode, badges are gone, and conversation does not compete with a glow in the corner. The phone charges in the hallway while sleep mode quiets the house, and night belongs to rest instead of micro alerts. One unexpected insight makes this easier to keep. Freedom grows when decisions shrink. You do not need to debate each ping if rules, places, and times decide before the ping arrives. Every removed choice is a fight you never have to win again, and every small win nudges the next one into place. To make this durable, we will shape it into a simple map you can see at a glance. In the next part, you get a 3x3 matrix that links brain, behavior, and environment with signals, actions, and rewards. You will fill it with your rules, your modes, and your rituals, and you will leave with a 1-week checklist that turns this plan into motion. Here is the moment everything clicks. You are not weak and apps are not magic. You are caught between brain chemistry, product design, and social obligations that pull in the same direction. The way out is not abstinence or guilt. The way out is to rebuild the loop so signals, actions, and rewards line up with what you actually want. Use a simple map you can hold in your head. 3 levels on one side, brain, behavior, environment. 3 stages on the other side, signals, actions, rewards. 9 cells in total. Fill each cell with one clear move. When these 9 pieces align, craving drops, friction rises where you need it, and satisfaction returns without long fights. Start with the brain row. Brain plus signals means you learn your triggers and name them. Boredom, stress, and social anxiety each get a short label you can say out loud. Naming slows the loop by 1 beat. Brain plus actions means you insert a pause you can feel. 1 long exhale, then a question in plain words, what is my purpose? Brain plus rewards means you pair patience with a small win. Tea after a focus block, a minute of music after sending a hard message, sunlight on your face after closing the laptop. Move to the behavior row. Behavior plus signals means you script the first seconds. If I unlock, then I speak my 1 task. If I see a red badge, then I schedule it for the next batch window. Behavior plus actions means 1 unlock, 1 task, 1 exit. A timer ends the block so sunk cost cannot glue you to the feed. Behavior plus rewards means you track small streaks that matter. Sleep, reading, training, or calls to family. Visible progress teaches repetition better than scolding does. Finish with the environment row. Environment plus signals means fewer cues hit your eyes. No lock screen previews, no breathing lights, and no badges for entertainment. Environment plus actions means the path of least resistance points to tools. Only maps, camera, calendar, notes, and payments live on page 1. Grayscale turns on for unplanned checks. Environment plus rewards means stop signs and pleasant endings exist. Batch notifications arrive at lunch and evening, and a real alarm clock wins back your night. You now have a compact system that bends the loop at every joint. Cravings meet labels and pauses, actions meet scripts and timers, rewards arrive from effort and life, not from random swipes. This does not isolate you. It lets you be reachable on your terms. It also frees the idle spaces of the day that your mind needs to think and to rest. Turn the map into motion with a 1-week ramp. Day 1, rebuild placement and light. Charge the phone outside the bedroom, Disable previews and keep the first 5 minutes screen-free. Day 2. Rebuild the home screen and move all novelty to page 2 inside verb folders. Day 3. Set whitelists, batch digests, and focus modes tied to time and place. Day 4. Practice single entry with timers and write your if-then scripts on paper. Day 5. Add 3 body rituals, morning breath, midday posture reset, and a screen down hour before sleep. Day 6. Make social agreements, post response windows, set quiet hours in family threads, and move emergencies to one channel. Day 7. Log checks, minutes, and regret minutes, then choose 2 cells of the matrix to strengthen next week. Here is a short picture of success you can feel. A cue fires, you name it, and your breath slows. You unlock with a purpose, complete one action, and lock. Your mind gets a small reward that is not on a screen. The day keeps moving forward. At night, the room is dark and quiet, and sleep arrives on time. You wake with a plan, and the phone waits its turn. The core insight stands firm. You cannot quit by force when 3 systems push against you. You can win by design when your own 3 systems push back in sync. Brain, behavior, and environment. Each reshapes signals, actions, and rewards. Align the 9, and the loop serves you instead of steering you. You now have a simple map and a 1-week ramp. Brain, behavior, and environment align with signals, actions, and rewards. 9 cells, 9 clear moves. When you stack them, urges shrink, sessions get shorter, and attention returns to the things you choose. Start small and start today. Pick 2 cells to activate before bed, charge the phone outside the bedroom, disable previews, and write 1 line that names tomorrow's first action. In the morning, breathe slowly for 1 minute, open real light, and use a single entry rule for the first unlock. Momentum follows the first few minutes. Keep the loop honest with numbers. Track checks, minutes, and regret minutes for 1 week. Watch the ratio move, not just the total time. Celebrate small wins out loud. 1 clean exit is a win. 1 batched inbox is a win. Wins teach faster than guilt and build the next win by themselves. Make expectations visible. Post response windows in your main chats. Set office hours in work tools and move true emergencies to 1 channel. Quiet hours at dinner and at night, protect presence without cutting ties. When people know your rhythm, pressure drops and you stop paying with constant microchecks. Protect what makes you feel human. Sleep that arrives on time. Mornings that begin with direction, not scanning. Walks, pages, and conversations that are not competing with a glow in the corner. The phone stays useful, but it no longer decides the shape of your day. If this was helpful, save the checklist and share it with 1 person who needs it. Subscribe for the next part where we build a zero-trigger digital environment step by step, and for the episode on how a 48-hour day would rewrite habits. Your attention is valuable. Keep it pointed where your life grows.